Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm JJ.
I'm CJ.
And we are the Radio Twins.
And this is
the Radio Twins Experience. And of course, if you ever wanted to follow us on social media, you can always follow us on the platforms known as X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Fanbase, Instagram, Twitch. You follow us, we follow you back. You can also go to our website, which is TheRaydioTwins.com.
TheRaydioTwins.com.
You can also check for our apparel line, and that's on the same website. Just look for the tab that says Born to Win Store. That's BORN, the number 2, WINSTORE. And there you'll find socks, hoodies, t-shirts, you name it, you'll find it. You can check us out Saturdays at 3 p.m. on our radio show as well. And this is the Radio Twins Experience podcast, where we discuss people, places, and things. And today we have, I sound like a old school hip hop record. We have, but anyway, we have, of course, businesswoman, entrepreneur. She's a DJ,
a mom.
That too. That's the most important one. Her name, DJ Shannell B. How you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm good.
Man,
I'm hoping I can get through this with my voice already been gone, because the teacher in me is ready for the summer to be here.
I hear that.
Man, that. I'm sure that's as they say, a job in itself. And you probably got to raise your voice a lot in order for them to hear you. Like, wait, look, you gotta pay attention. You know, all that kind of stuff. So my first question to you is, how did you get into DJing?
How did I get into it? I think the DJing got to me because I just simply loved music so much that I think when I started collecting music, my first set of teachers, my parents, would question why would I take my money and buy tapes and CDs and not have anything left over. And I was like, well, because I want to. And that was 5th grade. Eventually, all of those tapes and all those CDs started to build a collection that a lot of people actually didn't know about. And I wound up being one of those advocates for music at my schools. This is middle school, high school, and with joining the choir, whether it was in school or doing the gospel choir at church, eventually I learned that I had a role, and that was to either stand close to the microphone because of singing, and it sounded so good that everyone, relied on it, to the point that when I got to high school, the shy person was called out to do a solo because the people next to me heard me, and it got me out of my show. And eventually I did start performing, and I joined a choir in Baltimore City where we perform for artists that would come to the city. And eventually I would be performing with Shania Twain and Wyclef Jean and Vitamin C. We did Yaphet Kotto's wedding. Like, we were the children that in the city of Baltimore, they would ask if we could sing the national anthem or sing like our songs at different events around the city.
Oh, wow.
And while all of that was going on at the age of 14 and 15, my younger siblings, they were at an after school program, and I just happened to pick them up one day, and the teacher asked me if I could come back in the summer and work there to teach the kids music, because I was randomly just showing them how to play the piano. So now I'm teaching kids at 14, and I'm teaching them music because I'm just walking around with cassette tapes and CDs and headphones. That was me. I'm the female version of Radio Raheem. However, now there's a teacher asking me, can I be a camp coach in the summer now that I'm old enough to get a job? And I say, sure, because I'm not doing anything but babysitting my brothers. So now here comes the summer, but I'm teaching these kids, and I'm also singing in the choirs, and I'm also singing for this choir that's going around the city and performing for the Orioles and the Ravens and whoever wants. But then all of that comes to an end because now I'm going to college, But
Mhm.
what I thought I wanted to go to college for, which was law, by the time we got to the last year of school and we got all these awards for music, I said, and
Nope.
I had a great intern with the US State's Attorney over the summer right before college. I just had my mind set on being a lawyer.
Oh wow.
Got into music so much that I just applied at different schools and showed them the videos, and I got some scholarships which were solely for performing, and it was pretty much a full ride. And I said, well, you know what? Since they're all paying, I'm going to school for music. I'm going here. And that actually leveled me up because now I'm in the marching band and the gospel choir, and I'm the vocal music performer for the school.
Wow.
But it led me to traveling to Austria, led us to traveling to the different states when we did the band.
Oh
And
wow.
eventually all of my college friends, they knew that while we were still on the yard, who else can play the music?
Right.
You know, you can play the music. You already do this all the time. And eventually, by the time college ended, my college frat brothers, by the way, actually said, we need a music teacher. I know you can do it. You got the degree. Come
Right.
on over here. And I didn't actually, that wasn't where I was going. I was not looking to teach at all. But they pretty much told me, all of us are here. Your whole family's here. We love teaching kids. We know you work with kids. You got the degree. What else are you doing? We're gonna
Right.
teach you how to do it. Let's do it. And
Mhm.
that was 20 years ago.
Man.
That was 20 years ago. So leaving college, going into teaching music, and the schools that I worked at, they had no program. So I was able to build the music program from ground up, had a choir, eventually went into teaching the kids recorders. The middle school picked me up and they needed an orchestra. They let me put together a whole band,
An
Wow.
which
orchestra.
was amazing to me because I've never been a band director. I just knew how to teach music.
Right.
And the principal at the time, he had came out of retirement from like being known as the Joe Clark in DC. Now he was so great at teaching, at being a principal, that when they rehired him for this charter job, um, he told them he wanted an orchestra. So when he hired me, I said, I don't know. We can figure this out together. But he gave me his former band director, which was Michelle Indigeo-Cello's father.
Oh
Oh wow.
wow.
And like one of the best band directors in DC. But
Right.
he hired him as my assistant.
Mm.
And so now I'm teaching instruments and I'm running a band. And our band wound up being the best band for middle school students throughout the charter schools. And they would have us performing at people's graduations. Now, these were kids that never touched music ever at all. And it was amazing to see. Now, me having this joy of trying to find how to get the other kids in the class excited, because the instrumentalist kids, they were there, they were happy. But because it was a charter school, I had to teach every child,
Wow.
and not all of them really wanted to be there. So I came up with music technology program where they
Mhm.
could make beats, and that was the tech part. So as I'm getting my master's at Towson now, I
Uh-huh.
added in some instructional technology classes while I'm there learning how to teach the band.
Uh-huh.
The tech classes led me to expanding in my audio engineering.
Mhm.
Now I'm telling these kids, you guys can make the beats while the instrumentalists are playing the melodies and the harmonies, and that way the whole class can succeed. Because I don't want you guys to think you have nothing to do. In
Right.
DC, they love go-go, they love percussion. So it was easy to say, here, you guys make these beats, you guys make these productions. And then eventually, when I had my son, I said, okay, I'm doing a lot and I have no time to actually be a mom. So
Uh,
what I decided, which it was devastating, nobody wanted me to actually take my step away from being the band director. I asked if I could run the lab that was opening up at my old school, which happened to be a lab for audio engineering and science and art and all the subjects all in one. Now when I got to that particular lab,
mm-hmm.
I had an opportunity to actually show the kids how to DJ and make beats. Now the principal knew that I could actually do editing, and he actually told us, he said he wanted to make a song and make it go viral so the kids can hear it. And what I did, because I was there as the tech engineer or the lab facilitator, I had a robotics team. Now my robotics team, because our CEO wanted us to travel everywhere and compete. I found a competition in Canada, in St. Louis,
Uh-huh.
but our principal said, "We don't have any money. We don't have any money." So I said, "Well, why don't we just
Raise
teach
money.
kids how to DJ? We DJ at these parties. We can get it that way." Because I said, because we're now making songs, the kids are making songs that were similar to Kids Bop instead of the regular version. I said, and the kids are playing this at the parties. I can teach them how to DJ, and they
Mm,
can just play at the parties, and we can use that money to travel. So
right.
now I have a DJ. I have a DJ kid camp, and these kids are actually playing the music. But it was really so we can take them to build their robots, and the parents.
So
The
was it difficult to actually sit down and, because you didn't go in with a manual that says you have to do this, was it difficult?
No, it wasn't difficult because the equipment was already in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that wasn't there were turntables. Now I already had music. I already had hard drives. I already had songs. But because the kids were remaking the songs as projects,
Oh
we were
wow.
playing those type of songs in the school anyway. The only
Uh-huh.
thing we needed really was the sound. And I did ask the school if they could buy me this turntable setup. And
Mm-hmm.
they did. And it was actually my first turntable as well. Little did I know the parents that were coming to pick the kids up. This one lady, she asked me to do her wedding. And I actually took it. And that's really how my foot got into DJing.
How was
Because I
nervous doing that? Your first DJ job.
now that wasn't my first wedding singing. That
Right.
wasn't my first wedding hosting. Like, I guess I'm missing one most important thing here.
What?
In summer, when school was out, I would go to karaoke events and sing. Like,
Uh,
I would perform and I would invite people out. So one particular summer, there was a karaoke contest and it was similar to American Idol. So every week someone got eliminated. And when we got to the top two,
you?
um, I did not win. The lady that won against me, she won because four more people were there than for me, like that voted.
Uh-huh.
So the host actually said, "We need you to do this more often." And I said, "Well, I only teach kids. I sing in the summer. Like, I just like to win the contest. I love karaoke, but I wasn't looking at it to be a profession."
Right.
So when I connected with those DJs and plus teaching the kids, it was a win-win because now the DJs are telling me, "Here's some songs, here's some karaoke, do this for our events, help us out." And then I will go back to school and show the kids how to do it.
Well, when you started randomly getting picked or chosen to do these various different things, when did you start thinking, this could be a big business for me?
It started when I stopped wanting to pay out of my own, like the taxes. I
Right.
realized when the school started hiring me for the conferences coming back to school,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that they had to write it in my name. And I said, all
Right.
right, enough is enough. Like it's getting out of control. And I knew I had to buy equipment. And eventually I knew it wasn't going to be under the school. So I
Right.
said, I'm gonna separate it. Um, not only that, I was making mixes on SoundCloud
Oh,
and I
okay.
was just dibbling and dabbling with it. But when I went on a vacation, um, the people I went on the vacation with, they knew that I was making music.
Right.
So when one particular DJ went to the bathroom, they asked if I can get on and play while he was gone.
Ooh.
Now, little did I know they were watching me. Like they were like, yeah. And then some of the ladies that were there were like, she needs to stay on, put her on, and she needs to come back next year. So because of that DJ, and then when he came back, he was like, go ahead, rock out. I'm on his control, I'm on his laptop, his CDJs,
Uh-huh.
because of his eagerness to just let me DJ, whatever. They actually booked me the next year in Jamaica for their travel group.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's
And
good.
here it is, like three out of 3 years of just practicing with the kids. Now I have DJ'd weddings, school events, and now resorts in Jamaica. So
Did
it
you
So
all
re-
just hey,
did you realize that throughout all of that, you were building somewhat of a resume and didn't even really realize it?
I didn't realize it, but I was always a teacher teaching kids how to build portfolios. I
Hmm.
was always a business owner that helped people with their music and their music collection. Now, I always had my CDs and my tapes, and I
Hmm.
was always the person with the parties, so I knew what songs to play.
hmm
But when people actually started to hire me,
Hmm.
that's when it got to me. And I said, you know what? I'll stop when people stop asking. Now,
Right.
back then, that was 2012. I made a joke like, I'll stop in 2020 because that was such a far year
right.
from back then.
Right.
I said,
Now,
I'll stop when people stop asking. I said, they probably stop around 2020.
so
Nobody has stopped.
when you knew, okay, this could be something for me, meaning when did you know, okay, this is business. Let me start creating a company for me.
Ah, so when it really, really hit that I needed to stop and be very serious about it. One, it was after going to Jamaica because now I have a manager. And as my manager is talking with me and Macy's is reaching out, the DJ name that I had, um, people are telling me like, you may need to change that or you may want to do this. And back then, because now we're in 2024 and I can see now in 2013, female DJs,
Hmm.
Hmm
there were many, especially the Baltimore. It was more of a it was rare. And I know when it came to Baltimore, many were looking at it not being something they really wanted because of how we lost one of the best female DJs in
Hmm.
Baltimore.
K Swift.
And yeah, and back then, I know, knowing all of the DJs I grew up on, no one is no one expected me to to be in this position at all. I was a dancer and a fan of music. But when I realized that I would put up a mix and people were sharing it and those were strangers. These were no longer friends.
Hmm.
And the pictures that I would take that initially were just for my leisure, like, hey, I'm a DJ, book me, we're gonna do the when it dawned on me that people are actually sharing that and they're putting it in places that I don't even know about.
Right.
And it's no longer just my hometown. It's DC, it's Delaware,
Hmm.
it's Philly, it's New York. It got to me like, whoa, this is more than just a part-time thing. Like
Right.
this is actually something we have to really
You know, we
consider.
we gotta. I cannot not brag about your. I call it a rap sheet. I mean, you,
Right.
DJ Shannell B. If you don't know, she's performed in countless venues ranging from Howard Theater in DC to
Yep.
New York's SOB, along with performing alongside of artists such as Biz Markie, may he rest in peace, Eric Benet, Natasha Diggs, Frank Ski, Kid Capri, Shania Twain, Tracy Braxton, Q Parker from 112. Oh, I mean, the Don Richards from Danity Kane, Bridget Kelly, I love her. Avery, I mean, the
This
list
goes
on and on.
And through meeting and working for some of these artists, or working with some of these artists, what's the best advice you've ever gotten from any of them? You don't have to mention who gave it to you, but
Right.
what's the best advice you've gotten thus far?
The best it came from a DJ.
Okay.
Do what you want to do. Like, keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you want. Don't have any fear. Go for it.
And if
Because
you
I used
go ahead.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I used to think that there was a protocol to follow or some steps. From what I've learned,
Mm-hmm.
there weren't many written rules, certain steps in how to grow, how to be a DJ. I would go to Essence Fest. I started in 2003.
That's a
I would
lot.
just go. And that was because I was following Jill Scott. And that was my girl.
Uh-huh.
And I think when I saw the lineup, I said, well, instead of buying tickets to all of these people, might as well go in one place and see them all in one weekend.
Right.
But when I started going back after DJing, I went with CDs. And little did I know what I was doing back then was a networking technique that now I teach other people. But no, I would have never known that that would have been the reason why now, while I'm there, people actually know that I'm going to be at Essence Fest, or they're familiar with going, and they know that there's going to be experience where they can actually see me, and they're going to get music, and the people that are into music are going to be there, and it's a great opportunity to grow. But little did I know back then that that was the foundation to a lot of those activities, and working with some of those artists.
I mean, tell by working with those artists, tell us about BE or B Media, and tell us LLC. That is very
So that was simply, and initially it was just because I no longer wanted people to just write a check to me.
Okay.
Just needed, I needed it to be somewhere contained, and the more I received gigs, I realized that I had to give on gigs to other people. When I would pass on these gigs, these DJs would ask me questions like, well, how does this contract look? Or how should this be? At first, I wouldn't even advise. But when I would get stories of how things happen or the aftermath, I realized, like, well, this is what I have in my contract. This is what I do. And a lot of people would also say, well, who did your business cards? Who did your CD? Who did this? It was me. It was me. But not knowing that people don't have that expertise, and I did, making the LLC and putting in the business plan that we are going to offer services, and it may not just be me, it may be another act. You're going to at least get a blanket contract that protects all of these artists, and you're going to get equipment that is quality. You are going to have things that are covered that a lot of people don't think of if they're DJing. Now, one thing I did notice, that from being a hobby, you don't think of needing insurance or being protected or making sure that you have that type of coverage when you are outside and you're working with people. You're just happy to get it. You're just happy to be surrounded by people. But being around a lot of the venues, it comes in handy. Being around those artists came in handy.
Right.
Mhm.
Um, Eric Roberson put me on the spot. And
Okay.
the day of his event, his drummer gave me his music. Now, I thought initially I was just going to play the music.
Right.
Mhm.
He said, "We want you to mix in something else with it." When Eric starts rapping and freestyling, he wants you to go off and do your thing.
Oh
Now
wow.
I'm looking like, what do you mean? What is my thing? He said, just do you. And if you like it, you'll know. If you don't, you can go back to the. So now I'm nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, if he looks like he doesn't like it, I don't know. Do it myself. I have a video of it,
Uh-huh.
and I actually blended in with him the whole time. I was nervous, but pulled it off, and then went back into his music, and he freestyled, did his little verses. I added in a Biggie beat, and after that event, they asked me, what's your schedule like this summer? Or like, do you travel? And then I'm like, oh my God.
Have I stepped into?
Mhm.
I'm at the point where I'm like, I cannot believe we pulled this off on the spot.
Uh-huh.
So I did learn you should always be practicing because
Right.
you never know when someone randomly is going to
Right.
call you out. And that
Mhm.
happened in New York as well. I have a story for every person if you ask.
And a lot of people don't. And which you brushed upon it, but she does a lot of logos and designs.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
She allowed us to see a lot of, and when I tell you,
What made
you're really good.
what made you
Thank you.
I know that you have a business, but when you started to be artistically like drawing and creating that portion of the art, what made you want to say, okay, I want to create my own logos. I want to create my own pictures that say me, you know what I mean? Or in just not even just you, but just in general logos. What made you want to do that?
It wasn't a choice. It was already an activity I was already doing.
Oh wow.
So when I was young, and I still got my composition books, that's how I sit still in a class
Hmm.
because I'm drawing. So my escape, if I can't leave my room, is to create art where I'm sitting.
Hmm.
Um, it's the same with playing the piano. Um, I
That,
think with
yeah,
say that again.
that was going to be the next question.
Yeah. Knowing that when I grew up, my mother, she was a police officer.
Hmm.
She did not want me leaving the home, the porch, or any part. Like I couldn't go nowhere. And
Uh-huh.
so my escape were the arts. And
Okay.
the only way I can go out is if it was like choir related or like music related. And eventually the classes that my mom and my cousins had put me in, some of them were art, one was photography. Of course, I was in the band. So
Hmm.
everything connected to these projects were things that the older I got, I just did them.
Uh,
Hmm.
I
wow.
did them for fun. These were hobbies.
And see, you know how they always say that saying, if you love what you do, it'll never feel like work.
Right.
And I believe that
Yeah.
you are doing what you do because to us, I mean, us first meeting you, we were like, first thing that caught me, I ain't gonna lie, your logo on the
Right.
back part of your
Ah,
laptop. I was like, I've never seen. You usually see like stickers,
Hmm.
but you
mhm.
light up.
Right.
But before that was the music you were playing. When I tell you
Yeah.
she's damn good.
Right.
Period.
Well, thank you. Now the logos, now I would say now that I'm DJing has taken up a lot of my time.
Uh-huh.
I have a good gift at finding people that are doing something good
Hmm.
and finding a way to market them so we can all win.
See,
So
love that.
that logo, that sticker, that lighting, that's from a younger college engineer who had a project that he put together. And when he reached out to me, I saw what it looks like, and I said, you know what? Why not? We love testing out new projects and then being the guinea pig and letting people know later if it works or not.
Right.
Are
Yeah.
you happy at you said that you wanted to at the time there were very few female DJs. Do you feel like now years later that there's more than enough or still not up to where you think it should be?
It needs to be more. I think because well, and this is how we roll into the B side. Um DJ is a great hobby. It's also a great role for people to have or people to be in for the flow of entertainment. But technology, as it has done, even with a calculator, but the way technology has kind of made things easier,
Right.
DJing is now easy to learn now because of technology. Anyone can be a DJ now. But what people that are DJs know that DJing is also a form of therapy. And
Right.
DJing is also a form of um connecting spiritually with the soul. Now, depending on what music you're playing, depending on the frequencies, the people that are playing that music have a different role. If you know that they're doing that, then you respect them even more than them just being a DJ.
Right.
Because women already they give birth to humans.
Right.
they got all these other great gifts. They're nurturers. With a woman being also a DJ, if they're doing it in addition to just push and play, because again, technology makes that easy. But if a woman is actually doing that, there's another field that they're connecting to bring in more nurturing.
Right.
And that wasn't the case 10, 20, 15 years ago. A lot of people will say, well, who are the female DJs that you know? And in the hip hop world, they're like, oh, Spinderella. And that's it. And now you can see that being you see more.
Yeah.
You see more, and you can see those in the hip hop field with turntablism.
Right.
But then you also have those that are bringing that energy to a crowd and making people excited about living, like just excitement. Now, don't get me wrong, there are guys that do it too. But when you now have both genders doing it, and you have options, it helps the human race.
Right.
I don't want to sound political, but you got those.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say you got those groups of people that now have a way to belong in ways that they might have felt like they weren't allowed. And I'm one of those people. I was a female that was walking around with a radio, listening to the radio station, making mixtapes, but I didn't see representation of me. I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't see too many of the women curating the parties or being other than the dancers or being somewhere in the party or maybe a host. I didn't see them controlling the party.
Right.
And even to this day there's still people that look at female DJs amazed, like, what are you doing?
Well, here's a metaphor that might work. So if anything, you do feel that the world has moved the needle forward.
Really?
Yes, the needle is definitely forward. And it's definitely helpful. DJing is not just DJing, but I think because of the fellowship now and the way people are coming together in the field, the field, it's inspiring more people to be a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have a set of questions.
It's like fill in the blank type. We like to call it the
nothing too crazy.
Right.
Okay.
It's and you fill in the blank with your first thought. And we'll go from there. Okay. All right. I could never have predicted.
And I would be still DJing in 2024.
But you're good. That's why.
Right. That's why.
That's exactly why.
Thank you.
And it's called Winning Thoughts.
Right. The next question. The key to happiness is
Peace.
that's deep.
That's so
Peace.
We get a lot of different answers, but I think that was one of the best ones.
Right. Okay. You will never regret
Leaving my school in DC to take a pay cut.
Oh wow.
To start teaching, to start working in my son's school because he started school. But I will never regret it because I had more time to actually perform. I had more time to be a mom. I lost that money, that extra money, but
it's something that I just thought about what you said earlier. You said because a woman, it's like a mother, she's nurturing, and you found that way.
You always figure out a way to make it work.
Right,
despite obstacles and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. It sounds like that's a prime example of what we always hear sometimes in life, not even just us, where they say sometimes you just got to go out on a limb or jump off the, what is it, where God
jump off the ledge.
Yeah, and try it, because you'll always feel like if you don't, you never accomplish something. But even if you fail, the fact that you still did it, and it moves a lot in your life. And just to hear some of that, it's like you've taken chances and you've done things that just most people are like, you did that, you did this, that, and you like you don't have any regrets. It's like you did it, and that was that.
And just so people will know, the way you see her now is the way she was when we first met her.
Right, exactly.
And nothing's changed. She's really cool, and very informative as well.
Which leads us to this next question.
But
you might wish you had
done what?
He came up with
I wish I had believed that I was as good as people saw at my younger years.
Okay.
I might have wished that I had more faith in me that I built up. And I think that it came from my son, along with these kids that I was teaching. So I used to first start teaching, and in the first 5 years, question, why am I here? What am I doing? By the end of the year, when that summer break came, I said, okay, this is why I'm here, because I get to do whatever in the summer. But I would go back, and I figured it out. Like the children, I learned from them. I teach them, they teach me. And they built up my confidence so much more that I remember telling them, and this was in the COVID years, or right before COVID. Matter of fact, before COVID, it was a wrap. For me, it was supposed to be a wrap. I said, this is the last year of teaching. This is it. Nope, that didn't happen. And I think if I could talk to my coworkers back then, you could see my enthusiasm had just dropped. DJing was picking up, but my teaching gift just wasn't there. And because we went into our virtual learning, being in my own basement and actually showing the kids what I could do at home, and then I would do it with people online, and they were all saying to me like, wow, this is great.
See?
And I'm looking like, really? It is?
Right.
Because in those times in 2020, 2021, it was more so like, it can't work. And then some people literally, you don't need a classroom if you already have that energy when you were in a classroom. Now it's online.
Right.
It's almost like your world didn't change, the world around you did, in a way, if that makes sense.
So the biggest risk I ever took was
The biggest risk? I done took a lot of them.
I believe you too. You
Yeah.
just to get where you are today, and it worked out.
Well, I have a nice one.
All right.
Leaving the country by myself to go perform in London.
How was that when you left the first
Is that
time?
is that so different from, like, let's say you going to, I don't know, Texas somewhere to
Right.
perform? Like,
I know I saw the movie Taken and I just got a little nervous. So to actually pray, and that trip actually was something that I, because I was a teacher and
mhm,
because we had just got back to being in the building, and
right.
I'm so used to only taking off in the summer. This trip was nowhere near the summer. It was totally different. Um, the DJs that invited me, it was it was an invitation that was open. It wasn't like we need you, we need you. It was more of a, if you can make it, that's fine. If you can't, so be it. And the way my income was looking and the way I didn't have a clue and I had no one to go. I mean, there was nothing planned about this trip.
Right.
Mhm,
And I think what I did was I did pray and I did talk about it. And I got some advice from my sisters.
mhm,
Everything after making that decision to go lined up to the point that um I didn't use any leave. The job had said you already had leave covered,
Oh
so
wow.
this is not going to affect you.
mhm.
When I got there, they had hired me for another restaurant. They fed me. The next day, the people that invited us all over there, they gave us this tour and the trip. I had, I never needed to come out of pocket. I was never alone. The people that knew me from online knew, they welcomed me to
Uh-huh.
Okay.
the point that me thinking that I would be over there by myself and something would happen, it
Total
never
op-
happened. And then
right.
when I got back, little did I know, I made an impact for the other DJs that were a little scared. Like, I can say it's on the female side. I've had some female DJs come to me like, I really want to do this. And I didn't know if I could do it, but I watch you and I'm going, I'm traveling. I've had people they're going again this year or
Uh,
they're going this year because they're like, nah, if you went, I'm going. Like, I'm not gonna be scared to do this. And I'm like, go. It's if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
But
And that's actually what happened.
when you got home, I bet you felt like a weight has been lifted because it was like, oh, all that worrying
Right.
and for what? Right.
But
Right.
do you if I could show you the videos of how much fun it was
Uh-huh.
and what I learned about just going over to the UK, my father was in a 70s group in the disco era.
Mhm.
They still play his music to this day. So
Wow.
little did I know that when they knew that that was my father, they were looking at me in a different capacity, like, "Whoa,
Right.
oh my God, this is great! I have these records," and I'm just like, "What?
And that's
Wow.
What?"
one of the things that me and my brother learned a long time ago was
Right.
that over in the UK and those other countries, they love straight out R&B, the funk, classics. Like
Hip hop, all
they,
of
they
it.
they really are into that music. Here it's just, not to say that all the music here that's being played is whack, but they literally listen to the hits and the classics. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right.
Hmm.
That's good.
I
Now,
am so happy I went. Like I gotta go back because that's how great that trip was.
what year was that in?
This was 2022.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
when we just came. Okay, wow.
Right.
I would have been
Yep, this is 2022.
because you don't know if you know what's lingering, and you don't know.
What's
I
going
made a risk. That was a big risk because this was one of those trips where, yeah, a lot of people still weren't coming outside or they
Right.
right,
didn't want.
right.
And now
But
we outside.
Right, right. Now, two more questions.
Never be
mhm.
by,
Say that again.
never be impressed by.
Never be impressed by. Hmm. That's a good one. Never be impressed by how people speak on things.
Right.
And
That's good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that
That's-
because most people, at least in my opinion, I think a lot of people who claim to know everything then try to explain it doesn't work out.
Right.
You can kind of
yeah,
tell.
they could be lying.
Right.
That part. That part.
Okay.
The last question.
Yeah.
I hope people will remember me most for.
Mm. For however it left a lesson that was never given from anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're going to give you two prominent names.
Okay.
And you tell us the first thing that comes to mind when you hear them. Okay.
Okay.
DJ Spinderella.
Oh, first word, nothing. I want to say so. There's a story.
Okay.
But
Go ahead. I mean, if you want to tell
If
it.
you want to tell it.
co-worker,
Okay.
but inspired. Um, I would go to Essence Fest and I would see her and D Nice, and because they were a part of the hip hop mentality, Biz Markie, rest in peace, who was just like the coolest guy in the world, but he's also a hip hop legend. He
Right.
would be next to all of them. And Spinderella, I know if she were to do a party here, she could ask for 0.0000 amounts. And then meanwhile, me, it's like, well, how much do you charge? And if it's this, it's like, oh, that might be out of our budget. So 2 years ago, I got to work with Black Enterprises for
Oh, wow.
one of their virtual events. And they told me that we want the vibe to look like it did last year. And last year was our first year, and it was Spinderella. So when I saw that, immediately I was like, you mean to tell me I'm the second one? And Spinderella's the first? Oh my. So
Right.
the first word is co-worker to me because I'm like, wow, I'm almost as I'm doing gigs that she's doing, and we're almost, I can't say all the way, but close to being co-work, like colleagues, like
Exactly.
in the industry together, opposed to, well, 10, 20 years ago, me looking up and just being like, oh, hey, nice. Now just be on the level ground. Thank you.
Now, the second person is James Ajax Baynard.
Oh, proud, proud, proud.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah. Yeah. That word proud is either I know he is, I know I am.
Right.
Mhm.
And there's no sadness in knowing that he none of this, and this is another reason why I started the nonprofit. After he passed, that is when a lot of these doors started opening for me. And I had a dream the day he passed. Didn't know it was him, but someone in the dream said, I got your back no matter what. And they
Oh.
were next to my uncle that had passed away. So I
Mhm.
told my mom, I was like, Mom, somebody ain't here no more. I said, I don't know who it is, but call your daddies and check on them. And lo and behold, it was my dad. And
Oh.
that dream, ever since then, I always looked at it as, I don't know that it was actually a real message or if my intuition just said, this is what you need to hear. Whatever the case,
Mhm.
I always moved with feeling like he got my back.
Right.
And a lot of the things that I've done, because I knew that I wasn't able to watch him do it anymore, and I
Mhm.
saw how people admired him. When people would tell me like, "Oh, you just like your father," or "You act just like," I started to do more of what he did, and it made me see him in me.
Mhm. Wow.
And same with my siblings. I have brother and sister that I can look at and see a side of him. And it made me actually not ever be sad. It made me actually happy because I'm like, wow,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
he ain't really gone.
Exactly.
Right.
And the way that he performed when I do karaoke or when I am on the mic, or when I'm just performing, I'm dancing. That's him. And that's my reminder to keep going because the more I do it, I see him. So I'm like, I know you got to be proud.
Right.
I know you got to be proud. So that's the word, proud.
Now, if people wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do it?
Right.
And where would they go?
The best place is the website djshannellb.com. Instagram is a good spot. Twitch is a great spot if you want to get a great experience of me just putting anything together and putting it in a blender.
Right.
And I think it's a great way to connect with me before you see me outside.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Twitch is a nice engaging space now
Mm-hmm. Right.
for people that technically want to see me working but not really at the event.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of a lot of other DJs that I watch on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But another question I had was, you mentioned you went to college.
Mhm.
Was there anything
Like
about,
outside activities?
like, when I say this phrase, you tell me what comes to mind? Divine Nine.
Okay.
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh the blue and white organization that pretty much is the reason that I have really been as successful as I am. Like in my stories,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
those karaoke contests, everybody from my years
Uh-huh.
and my organization, they were there supporting. Um those events that I would do on the yard, those parties were thrown by my organization, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
I'm
You
sorry.
know, the
Can you repeat
Zeta
that?
Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I mean, the events that we did, they were the reasons. When I said that I got a call to go teach music, that was my frat brother. When he said, we are all here, that was about 7 of my frat brothers and one of my sorors. We were all at that school. When I actually started DJing, let's see. With some of those prominent people, it was because of my sorority. Like the list goes on and on. Like there's no way a lot of people can say my name and you don't hear the word Zeta pop up as well.
Right.
Because we put on and we definitely let people know like we out here.
Yep.
You know. Oh
Definitely.
yeah. Especially when it's a Divine Nine event. And I know that we've had many group gatherings of DJs from the Divine Nine.
Mm-hmm. Man.
We hold the blue and white down.
Right. All the time.
Right.
Everywhere
So,
we
and
go.
just in case people didn't know, we're members of what?
Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity
Incorporated.
Incorporated. Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know who DJ Shannell B is,
You better get in the know.
get to know her. I mean, she's one, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. She's a damn good DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Her businesses are superb. If you see a lot of the material she's done up to this point,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be very impressed. If you read her rap sheet, I hate to call it a rap sheet, but resume, she's done a lot.
Yes.
And she's got a lot that's coming up.
Mm-hmm. And as we told you the day that we met you, whenever you have anything
let us
and
know.
you want us to promote it, help promote it, let us know. If you want to come back on for another interview, please let us know.
Yes.
Ladies,
Oh man, that is good to know. Because we do. I do. Look.
See?
See? Yes, I'm working the organization that I have, the B-side organization. And
Mhm.
again, everything goes back to my sorority and my, my love and my bond. We started the B-Side organization on Twitch. Now it started with my Twitch friends and my family on Twitch. But when my line sister passed away, I had a message to make memories. There was a message to just create. And we came up with a breast cancer DJ battle in her name. And this was the first year that she passed. So we had her funeral. And I was like, she deserves so much more. Like, we had that part. We got to have a part where we celebrate and we like bring out the joy that she had.
Right.
And because of it being connected to breast cancer in the month, me and my Twitch friends and family, we did this big event called Fedoras and Cigars. And the DJs had to battle each other. And at the last round, they had to play her best mix for her family. Whoever could make the family dance the best in her memory with her favorite song, they won for a donation of $1,000 to their charity for breast cancer. Now, what it did was it allowed that group of people that just love the DJ. We love to celebrate memories. We love to raise awareness to breast cancer and other things. We decided we were going to be a nonprofit to continue that for people that are actually trying to find ways to help people, but also help their well-being. Now, me missing my line sister, little did I know there were other people that would say things like, oh, I'm mourning, I'm missing, I got to do something to get better. And so the B-Side organization became a well-being group of performers that actually do well-being events just to make sure that we're keeping our peace, we stand grounded. And if we do want to raise awareness for people we've lost, we do it in a way nobody has to be sad. Like we actually are, celebrating the lives, and we're doing it through music. And we're going to be doing it in New York in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
We personally say thank you for allowing us to interview you on the show. We really, truly appreciate it. Again,
and we want to thank your voice because your voice held up as well.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen.
My diaphragm.
Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Shannell B. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all are good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.